It was a quiet afternoon. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the schoolyard. Children were laughing, running toward the school gates, and parents were waiting nearby. Among them, Emma Parker walked briskly, her hand tightly gripping the strap of her bag. Today, she felt an unusual sense of worry, though she could not say why. Something in the air felt different, as if the calm afternoon carried a hidden threat. Her son, Jason, ran ahead of her, laughing with a group of friends. His small backpack bounced with each step. Emma smiled, but her eyes scanned the area, alert. She had always been careful, protective. Today, that care would be tested in ways she could not imagine. The school gate swung open, and the children streamed out. Parents greeted their kids, shared smiles, and waved goodbye. Emma stepped closer, calling out Jason's name. He turned, his face lighting up as he spotted her. She waved, and he ran toward her, the joy of a normal day on his face. Then, everything changed. A shadow moved near the edge of the gate. It was the school guard, usually calm, always polite. Today his expression was strange, tense, cold. His eyes met hers briefly, then darted away. Emma did not think much of it at first, but instinct whispered in her mind, "Watch carefully." Before she could react, the guard lunged. In one swift motion, he grabbed Jason by the arm. The boy screamed, struggling, kicking, and pulling. Panic exploded in Emma's chest. "Let go of my son," she shouted, her voice shaking. The guard ignored her. He was strong, too strong. He held Jason tightly and began moving toward the street. Emma's heart pounded. Around them, parents gasped, children screamed, but no one moved to help. Everything seemed frozen in a terrible moment. Emma froze for a second, fear gripping her. Then something inside her snapped. This was her child. No one could take him. She reached into her pocket and felt the cold metal of her car keys. Normally, they were just keys, but today, they were her only weapons. "Stop! Let him go!" she yelled, stepping closer. The guard smirked, thinking her threat was empty, but Emma didn't hesitate. She twisted the keys in her hand, feeling their sharp edges press into her palm. She would do whatever it took to save Jason. The guard moved faster, dragging Jason toward the parking lot. Emma ran, her legs pumping as adrenaline coursed through her veins. Around them, cars were parked haphazardly, parents frozen in shock. Her mind raced. She had to stop him. But how? Jason's small hands gripped her coat as he struggled against the guard. "Mom, help me!" he screamed, panic clear in his voice. Emma's stomach twisted at the sound. She could not let fear paralyze her. She had to act. Suddenly, she remembered the story she had heard about using everyday objects as weapons. Her mind flashed to her keys. Not just ordinary keys. These were sharp, hard, and perfect for striking. She tightened her grip, aimed carefully, and swung at the guard's arm. The guard yelped, momentarily surprised. Emma didn't stop. She jabbed, twisted, and hit again, each motion precise and desperate. The keys cut through the air with a metallic whistle. The guard faltered, stumbling slightly. Jason wriggled in her hands, trying to break free. Emma's heart pounded. She could see the fear in the guard's eyes now. He had underestimated her, but he was not finished yet. He regained balance and spun, swinging his free hand toward her. Emma ducked just in time, the air rushing past her face. The guard was fast, powerful, and ruthless. Emma's mind raced. Think fast. Be clever. Don't panic. She noticed a car nearby, its doors slightly open. She ran toward it, using it as a shield. The guard followed, dragging Jason along. Emma swung the keys, aiming for his hands. She could hear Jason crying, calling her name. Every strike, every move was fueled by love and fear. The guard stumbled again, narrowly avoiding her strike. Emma's breath came in ragged gasps, but she refused to stop. Her eyes searched for something, anything, to gain an advantage. Then she saw it. A small puddle of water by the curb, shimmering in the sun. She led the guard toward it, hoping to make him slip. The guard noticed her plan and snarled. He adjusted, trying to stay steady. But it was too late. His foot hit the puddle and he slipped. Emma lunged, swinging her keys with all her strength. The keys struck his arm, and he roared in anger. Jason wriggled free, screaming with relief. Emma grabbed her son and pulled him close. "It's okay, Jason. I've got you," she whispered, holding him tightly. But the danger was not over. The guard was rising, his face twisted with rage. Emma backed away, holding Jason in front of her as a shield. Around them, the world seemed to blur. Parents were frozen in shock, some calling for help, but no one dare approach the powerful guard. Emma realized she had to think smarter, act faster. She could not rely on brute force alone. Her eyes scanned the surroundings. Cars, fences, bags, anything could be used. She needed a plan, a clever one. The guard was distracted, angry, and overconfident. She could turn his own strength against him. Emma's mind worked rapidly. She picked up a loose rock from the ground and flung it at his legs. He stumbled again, giving her just enough time to grab Jason and dart behind a parked car. Heart pounding, she crouched, holding her son close. Jason's eyes were wide, full of fear but also admiration. "Mom, you're so brave," he whispered, clutching her tightly. Emma smiled briefly, but she could not let her guard down. The guard was recovering, his movements slow but deliberate. He was thinking, planning his next attack. Emma whispered to Jason, "Stay behind me. Don't scream. Just trust me." Jason nodded, trembling. His small hands held onto hers, and Emma felt a surge of courage. They would survive. They had to. The guard finally spotted them, his eyes narrowing. He moved toward them cautiously, testing the ground. Emma's mind raced. She had to keep him off balance, make him underestimate her. The keys were ready, her mind sharp, her body tense. Suddenly, a car horn blared nearby. The guard flinched, distracted. Emma seized the moment. She swung her keys with all her strength, hitting his arm and shoulder. The guard stumbled backward, almost falling again. Jason screamed, but this time it was a scream of hope. Emma pushed forward, moving closer to the school gate. Safety was just ahead, but the guard was relentless. He lunged, and Emma barely dodged, feeling the wind rush past her face. The tension was unbearable. Every second could decide their fate. Then, as if the universe was on her side, a group of students ran past, drawing the guard's attention momentarily. Emma saw her chance. She grabbed Jason, held him tight, and sprinted toward the gate. The guard swore, furious, but he hesitated for just a moment, enough for them to gain distance. Emma's lungs burned, her heart raced, but she didn't stop. She could see the street beyond the gate, the promise of safety just ahead. Jason clung to her, whispering words of encouragement, brave despite his fear. The guard roared, frustration and anger mixing in a terrifying sound. But Emma was clever, fast, and determined. She knew she had to keep moving, keep thinking, keep fighting. This was far from over, but she had made the first move. She had shown him that she would not be beaten. And that was enough, for now. Emma and Jason ran into the street, hearts pounding, breaths ragged. The school guard stood at the gate, furious and defeated for the first time. He realized he had underestimated a mother's courage. Emma's eyes burned with determination. She had learned something crucial. Fear could not stop her. Love, courage, and quick thinking could defeat even the strongest enemy. The first battle was won. But Emma knew the war was not over. The unexpected turning point had come, and she had survived. She held Jason close, whispering words of reassurance, as they disappeared into the safety of the nearby parking lot. And somewhere in the shadows, the guard's eyes burned with promise. He would not forget this day. But neither would Emma. She had discovered a strength she never knew she had, and it was only the beginning. The streets outside the school were empty, silent except for the echo of Emma's and Jason's footsteps. Emma's heart pounded like a drum, her breath short and sharp. Every step felt dangerous, but she refused to slow down. She had Jason in her arms, clinging tightly, his small face pressed against her shoulder. Behind them, the school guard's heavy footsteps followed, slow but deliberate. He was strong, terrifying, and relentless. Emma knew he could catch them if he wanted to, but she also knew something he did not. She was clever. Every mother has a sixth sense, a resourcefulness born of love and desperation, and Emma was about to prove it. She glanced around quickly. Cars lined the street, their doors locked, windows reflecting the late afternoon sun. A fire hydrant stood nearby, bright red against the gray pavement. Trash cans, benches, and puddles scattered along the path. Every object could be a tool. Every shadow could hide a strategy. The guard's face was a mask of anger, his eyes locked on Jason. "Give me the boy," he shouted, his voice low and dangerous. "Now!" Emma's jaw tightened. She would not obey. Instead, she tightened her grip on the keys in her pocket. The metal felt heavy, reassuring, like a secret weapon ready to spring into action. Jason whimpered, but Emma whispered softly, "Stay calm, Jason. Trust me, I won't let him hurt you." The guard lunged again, reaching for the boy. Emma sidestepped quickly, spinning on her heel. She jabbed the keys at his arm. The metal caught him off guard, slicing through the air, striking his shoulder with a sharp clang. He stumbled backward, growling in anger. Emma didn't wait. She pulled Jason behind a parked SUV, ducking just as the guard swung his arm to strike. The boy's eyes were wide, but he followed her lead, crouching low and keeping silent. Emma scanned the area. She needed a plan, not just strength. Strength alone would not win this fight. The guard was too powerful. But cleverness? Quick thinking? That could level the field. Her eyes fell on a motorcycle parked nearby. Its kickstand was down, its engine off. Emma's mind raced. She ran toward it, pulling Jason along. "Hold on tight," she whispered. She grabbed the seat, yanked the handlebars, and swung it slightly. It tipped toward the guard, forcing him to jump back. His feet slipped on the pavement, and he cursed loudly. Emma didn't wait. She turned, pushing Jason behind her, and ran toward the alley beside the school. The narrow path would slow him down, she hoped. Trash bins and debris created obstacles she could use. Every step was calculated, every movement precise. The guard recovered quickly, his footsteps pounding like thunder. "You can't run forever," he shouted. His voice echoed off the walls of nearby buildings, tense and threatening. Emma's mind worked faster than ever. She noticed a puddle near the alley's entrance, water glistening in the sunlight. She led the guard toward it. As he ran, he didn't notice the slick surface. His foot hit the puddle, and he slipped violently. Emma seized the moment. She swung her keys with all her strength, striking his side. He grunted in pain, regaining balance barely. Jason gasped, gripping her tightly. "Mom, you're amazing," he whispered. Emma smiled faintly but kept moving. There was no time for pride, only survival. They ran through the alley, Emma's eyes darted into every possible obstacle. She grabbed a loose plank that was lying against the wall and swung it toward the guard as they passed a narrow doorway. The plank hit his chest, throwing him off balance. Emma didn't pause. She spun, ducked, and pulled Jason into the next street. The guard roared in frustration. His pride hurt more than his body. He was angry, relentless, and underestimating the mother had cost him more than he expected. Emma's mind searched for another way to gain an advantage. She noticed a chain-link fence bordering the street, rusted and weak. A quick pull could create a barrier, slow him down. She ran toward it, tugging at the metal. The fence rattled and bent slightly, creating a small obstruction. The guard had to jump over it, giving her precious seconds to gain distance. Jason's small voice whispered, "Mom, what if he catches us?" Emma's heart ached, but she didn't show fear. "We won't let him. We're too smart for him. Just trust me," she said firmly. The guard landed on the other side of the fence with a growl, his face twisted with anger. He was fast, but Emma was clever. She darted into a nearby parking lot, weaving between cars. Each movement was a trap, a distraction, a clever way to slow him down. She grabbed a loose hubcap from the ground, spinning it toward him like a frisbee. The guard flinched, eyes narrowing. The hubcap struck the ground near his feet, bouncing and forcing him to jump back. Emma smiled faintly. Simple objects, used creatively, could be deadly in her hands. The chase continued, tense and chaotic. Emma and Jason ran through narrow streets, back alleys, and abandoned lots. The guard followed, relentless, but Emma's strategies kept him off balance. Every twist, turn, and improvised strike delayed him, bought her seconds, and gave her hope. Finally, Emma spotted a construction site ahead, its gates partially open. She ran toward it, dragging Jason along. Inside, piles of lumber, metal rods, and construction tools littered the ground. This was a perfect arena. She had space to move, objects to use, and a chance to fight back effectively. The guard followed, stepping cautiously. Emma's eyes darted around, analyzing everything. She picked up a long metal rod, its tip sharp. It wasn't a weapon she preferred, but it would work if necessary. Jason looked at her nervously. "Mom, what now?" Emma knelt, putting him behind a pile of lumber. "Now we fight smart, not just hard." The guard charged, furious, his hand reaching for Jason again. Emma met him head-on, twisting the metal rod to block his strikes. She jabbed and swung, striking his arms and legs where she could. The guard stumbled, surprised by her skill and determination. Emma's keys were still ready, hanging from her hand. She swung them with precision, striking the guard's shoulder and neck. The metal bit deep, sharp and painful. He yelled in frustration, swinging wildly. Emma dodged and countered, leading him toward a narrow corner filled with debris. The guard tripped over a plank, hitting the ground hard. Emma seized the moment, grabbing Jason and running toward the side exit. But the guard wasn't finished. He got up, shaking the pain off, his eyes burning with rage. Emma's mind raced. She noticed a forklift parked nearby, and used. A clever idea formed. She ran toward it, pulling the lever to lift the forks slightly. The guard, too focused on chasing, didn't notice. He ran straight toward it, and Emma pushed a pile of boxes, creating a barricade. The guard slammed into it, stumbling back. Jason gasped in awe. "Mom, that was amazing." Emma smiled faintly. "Stay focused. We're not done yet." The chase continued to the construction site, Emma using every trick, every object, every ounce of her cleverness to keep them safe. The guard was strong and relentless, but Emma's determination, intelligence, and love for her child kept her one step ahead. Finally, Emma spotted the main street beyond the site, where people were starting to notice the commotion. She ran, Jason in her arms, ready to make her final move. The guard followed, slower now, tired and frustrated. Emma had learned his patterns, his weaknesses, his overconfidence. As they approached the street, Emma noticed a large pile of gravel. She led the guard toward it, making him slip and stumble. With one final swing of her keys, she struck his chest, sending him reeling backward. Emma didn't stop. She ran, dragging Jason with her, until they reached the crowded main street. People gasped, pointing, calling authorities. The guard stopped, realizing he'd been outsmarted. Emma's eyes burned with determination. She held Jason tightly, their bond stronger than any fear. The first strike had succeeded. The chase was over, for now. But Emma knew this was only the beginning. The guard would return, or someone like him would. But she had discovered something important. She was clever, brave, and unstoppable when it came to protecting her child. Jason looked up at her, eyes wide with admiration. "Mom, you're a hero," he whispered. Emma smiled, holding him close. "No, Jason, we are heroes. Together." And as they disappeared into the safety of the crowd, Emma knew one thing for certain. The unexpected turning point had arrived, and she was ready for whatever came next. Emma and Jason ducked behind a row of parked cars, their breaths short and sharp. The busy street around them buzzed with the usual afternoon sounds, honking horns, distant chatter. But Emma didn't hear any of it. Her focus was entirely on the guard. He had retreated a few steps, but his eyes never left them. His chest rose and fell heavily, his muscles tensed. Emma knew he was powerful, relentless, and far from done, but he had underestimated her. Every mother has a strength that surprises even the strongest enemy, and Emma was about to show it. She pressed Jason close to her chest, feeling his small heartbeat racing. "Stay quiet," she whispered. "I have a plan." Jason nodded, his eyes wide but trusting. Emma scanned the surroundings quickly. They were near a small construction site she had passed during the chase. Piles of wood, metal rods, and debris littered the area. Perfect. Emma's mind worked fast. She didn't need to fight the guard head-on. That would be dangerous. Too dangerous. She needed a trap, a clever trick to turn the tables. And she had just the idea. she whispered to Jason. "Hide behind that pile of wood. Stay down and don't move." Jason obeyed immediately. Crouching low and holding his breath, Emma picked up a long metal rod, her fingers gripping it tightly. Then she grabbed her keys from her pocket, swinging them slightly to feel their weight. Every weapon in her hands was ready. The guard stomped forward, scanning for them. "You can't hide forever," he shouted. "Give me the boy." Emma took a deep breath, forcing herself to remain calm. Fear would make her make mistakes. Calmness, cleverness, and timing, that was her strength. She ran forward suddenly, swinging the rod. The guard reacted instinctively, swinging his arm to block her. Emma dodged and twisted, stepping to the side. She threw the rod toward him, aiming not to hit him directly, but to create a diversion. The rod clanged loudly against a metal trash can, spinning across the ground. The guard flinched. Emma had his attention. He didn't notice Jason quietly crawling behind a pile of wood, nor did he see the small loop of rope she had set earlier, hidden in a shadow. Emma crouched, peeking around the corner. "Now!" she whispered to Jason. Jason picked up a few small rocks from the ground and tossed them near the guard's feet. Each rock rolled, making noise, confusing him further. His eyes darted from one sound to another, frustration building. Emma saw her chance. She lunged at the guard, swinging her keys in a precise arc. The metal scraped against his arm, leaving a sharp sting. The guard shouted, swinging wildly. Emma ducked and rolled behind a metal barrel, then pulled on the hidden rope. The rope tightened across the narrow alley, just at the height of the guard's legs. He stumbled, his feet catching on it. Emma had done it perfectly. He fell forward with a heavy crash, arms flailing, hitting a pile of wooden planks. Jason gasped, watching in awe as the powerful guard struggled to get up. Emma ran forward, swinging the keys at his shoulders, striking with precision. The guard tried to fight back, but each time Emma struck, he staggered further. Emma knew she had to keep him off balance. She kicked over a trash can, sending it clattering toward him. The noise, the movement, the chaos, it all worked in her favor. The guard tried to rise, but his footing was poor, his balance shaky. She leaned close to Jason. "Stay here. Watch carefully. Mom is going to finish this." Jason nodded, holding his breath. He had never seen his mother like this, so strong, so clever, so unstoppable. The guard roared in frustration, finally catching his balance. He lunged at Emma, swinging his arms like a wild animal. Emma dodged, stepping aside and using his momentum against him. She tripped him with her foot, causing him to stumble into another pile of debris. Now Emma had him exactly where she wanted. The narrow alley limited his movement. The metal rod, the debris, and her keys gave her the perfect advantage. She could attack from multiple angles while keeping him trapped. The guard growled, realizing he had underestimated her. "You think you can beat me?" he spat, his anger boiling. Emma didn't respond. She didn't need to. Her actions spoke louder than words. She swung her keys with precise aim, striking his chest and arms. The guard faltered, his strength no longer overwhelming. Then Emma used a trick she had seen in old action movies. She ran toward him, ducked under his arm, and used her body weight to push him into a pile of wooden planks. The planks shifted, pinning him slightly, slowing him down further. Jason watched, eyes wide. "Mom, you're amazing," he whispered. Emma smiled faintly but stayed focused. This was far from over. The guard was strong, but cleverness and courage could overcome brute strength. She adjusted her grip on the keys, ready for the next move. The guard struggled, trying to free himself. Emma circled him carefully, striking when necessary, keeping him off balance. Each swing of her keys was precise, controlled, and aimed to incapacitate rather than kill. She was careful but determined. She noticed a ladder leaning against a wall nearby. An idea formed. Emma darted toward it, pulling it down with a loud crash. The guard looked up, startled. Emma used the distraction to swing a metal rod at his knees. He stumbled again, falling backward onto the ground. Jason gasped, "Wow, Mom, you did it!" Emma crouched, holding her keys ready. "Not yet, Jason. Stay back." The guard tried to rise again, but Emma had planned for this. She kicked another piece of debris, blocking his path. Her eyes burned with determination. She had him trapped now, surrounded by obstacles, limited in movement, frustrated and angry. Emma approached slowly, swinging the keys in precise arc. The guard flinched, realizing he was beaten. He lunged desperately, but his movements were weak, sloppy. Emma struck again, her keys biting into his arm. He roared, then collapsed on the ground, exhausted and trapped. Jason ran to her side. "Mom, he's down." Emma nodded, holding him close. "Yes, but stay alert. We can't be careless." The guard lay on the ground, panting heavily, his eyes filled with rage and disbelief. He had underestimated a mother's love, her cleverness, and her determination. Emma looked down at him, her chest rising and falling rapidly. She had won this round, but she knew the battle was not entirely over. "Mom, what now?" Jason asked quietly. Emma knelt, holding him tightly. "Now we get to safety. We've proven we're stronger than fear. Stronger than anyone who thinks they can harm us. But we must stay smart, stay clever, and never give up." Jason hugged her tightly. "I knew you'd save me." Emma smiled, brushing his hair from his face. "I told you, Jason, together we can face anything." They moved carefully, keeping an eye on the guard. He was still conscious, still dangerous, but he could no longer chase them effectively. Emma used the chaos she created, the debris, the obstacles, the narrow alleys, to her advantage. Every step they took increased their safety. Finally, they reached a main street, where people had begun to notice the commotion. Some called the authorities. Others simply stared, shocked by the scene. Emma held Jason tightly, keeping him close as they moved towards safety. The guard struggled to rise one last time, but fell again, trapped by the clever trap Emma had set. She didn't need to strike again. The cleverness of her plan, combined with her bravery, had done the work for her. Emma took a deep breath, feeling the adrenaline slowly leave her body. Jason looked up at her, eyes full of awe. "Mom, you're the smartest person I know," he whispered. Emma smiled faintly. "No, Jason, we are smart together. That's what matters." And as they disappeared into the safety of the nearby street, Emma knew something important. She had faced fear, danger, and a powerful enemy. She had used her mind, her courage, and her love for her child to turn the tables completely. The unexpected turning point had become a clever victory, and Emma was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Emma and Jason moved quickly through the main street, their eyes scanning every corner. Though the guard had stumbled in the previous trap, he was far from finished. Emma knew this. He was clever, strong, and dangerous, a predator who would not quit easily. "Stay close, Jason," she whispered, gripping his hand tightly. His small fingers clung to hers as they weaved through the crowded street. People glanced at them, noticing the panic in her eyes. But Emma ignored them. Her focus was only on the guard and keeping her son safe. The guard lurked nearby, recovering from the earlier chaos. He had staggered to the shadows of an alley, his muscles taut with anger and anticipation. Emma could sense him watching, waiting for an opening. Every instinct in her body screamed that he would attack if given a chance. Emma paused briefly behind a parked delivery truck. She held Jason close to her chest and whispered, "We need a plan. He's not just strong, he's dangerous. We need to outsmart him one final time." Jason's small voice trembled. "Mom, will we be okay?" Emma smiled faintly, though her heart raced. "We'll be okay. We just have to stay smart, stay calm, and stay together. You trust me, right?" Jason nodded, squeezing her hand tightly. "Always." Emma took a deep breath and surveyed the area. The street had multiple escape routes, but she needed more than that. She needed to trap him, turn his strength against him, and end this chase. Her eyes landed on a narrow parking lot between two buildings. Its entrance was wide enough for them to run, but too narrow for the guard to attack effectively if she used the surroundings cleverly. "This is it," she whispered to herself. "This is where it ends." Emma led Jason into the lot cautiously, keeping low and moving behind abandoned cars. The guard appeared at the entrance, his eyes narrowing. "You can't hide forever," he growled, stepping into the lot. Emma knew she had to act fast. She glanced around, spotting an old chain-link fence leaning against a wall. It was weak, rusted, and perfect for her plan. She grabbed a metal rod nearby and used it to prop the fence upright, creating a narrow corridor leading toward the lot's far side. Jason watched in awe. "Mom, you're amazing," he whispered. Emma smiled briefly, but kept her focus. "Quiet, Jason. This isn't over yet." The guard advanced, his steps slow but deliberate. He had realized he was being drawn into something, but it was too late. Emma had carefully prepared the environment to her advantage. Every step he took brought him closer to her trap. Emma took another deep breath and stepped into the corridor, keeping Jason behind her. Her keys were ready in her hand, swinging slightly as she moved. She needed to make the first strike count. The guard lunged, his fist aimed at her shoulder. Emma ducked, twisting to the side and jabbing him with her keys. The metal struck his arm, sharp and precise. He stumbled, surprised by the sudden attack. Emma ran forward, pulling Jason along, and kicked a loose crate toward the guard's feet. He tripped, nearly falling, but regained his balance just in time. Emma didn't stop. She circled around him, using every obstacle in the lot to keep him off balance. Her mind raced. She noticed a pile of metal rods stacked against the wall. A clever idea formed. Emma grabbed one, swinging it like a lever. She struck the ground near the guard, sending a loud clang echoing through the lot. The sound disoriented him, giving her precious seconds. Jason gasped, "Mom, you're so clever." Emma ignored the praise, focusing on the task. She needed one final move, a clever, decisive strike that would incapacitate the guard and keep Jason safe. She led him toward the far side of the lot, where a large dumpster stood. She positioned herself so that if the guard followed, he would have limited space to move. She whispered to Jason, "Stay behind me. Watch carefully." The guard charged, his rage clear. He thought he could overpower Emma, but he underestimated her resourcefulness. As he entered the narrow corridor, Emma swung her keys, striking his arm and chest. He stumbled, but his strength was immense. Emma pivoted quickly, grabbing a loose metal chain from the fence. She swung it like a whip, tangling it around the guard's legs. He fell hard onto the pavement, his arms flailing. Jason's eyes widened. "Mom, he's down." Emma smiled faintly, but she wasn't done yet. She noticed another obstacle, a broken wooden pallet leaning against the wall. She kicked it toward the guard, creating a barrier between him and them. The guard struggled to rise, but the combination of the chain, debris, and narrow space slowed him down. Emma knew she had the advantage now. She whispered to Jason, "This is our chance. Stay close and follow my lead." Jason nodded, holding her hand tightly. Emma advanced cautiously, swinging her keys with precise aim. Each strike forced the guard backward, preventing him from attacking effectively. His strength was still formidable, but her clever use of the environment made her nearly untouchable. The guard roared, frustration evident in his voice. "You think you can beat me?" he spat, struggling to rise from the pile of debris. Emma didn't answer. She focused on timing, distance, and strategy. She lured him toward a corner of the lot where several heavy metal rods lay scattered. As he lunged, she sidestepped and kicked one of the rods, sending it rolling toward him. He stumbled over it, crashing into a stack of crates. Jason watched, holding his breath. "Mom, you're amazing." Emma smiled briefly. "Stay focused. This isn't over yet." The guard tried to rise again, but the pile of crates and rods blocked his movement. Emma took a deep breath, gripping her keys tightly. She needed one final strike, a move that would ensure their safety and end the chase. She stepped forward, careful not to give him an opening. The guard lunged desperately, swinging his fists, but Emma dodged with precision. She swung her keys in a sharp arc, striking his shoulder. The metal cut through the air, sharp and precise. The guard stumbled backward, losing his balance completely. Emma lunged, using her body weight to push him into a dumpster. He collided with it forcefully, the metal denting under the impact. He groaned, clearly in pain, but struggled to free himself. Emma didn't hesitate. She swung her keys again, striking his arms and legs to prevent him from rising. The guard flailed, then collapsed, exhausted and trapped. Emma stepped back, breathing heavily, holding Jason close. Jason hugged her tightly. "Mom, you did it. We're safe." Emma smiled, brushing his hair from his face. "Yes, but stay alert. He's still dangerous, and we need to get somewhere safe." Emma scanned the area, noticing a nearby convenience store with people inside. She led Jason toward it cautiously, keeping an eye on the guard. He had tried to attack, but her clever traps and quick thinking had neutralized him. For now, they entered the store, and Emma whispered to the clerk to call the authorities. Jason clung to her side, his small hands gripping hers tightly. As they waited, Emma reflected on what had happened. She had faced fear, danger, and a powerful enemy. She had used her intelligence, creativity, and love for her child to turn the tables completely. The guard had been strong, but cleverness and courage had triumphed over brute force. Jason looked up at her, eyes full of admiration. "Mom, you're the smartest person I know," he whispered. Emma smiled, holding him close. "No, Jason, we are smart together. That's what matters." The guard remained outside, still struggling to free himself, but he was no longer an immediate threat. Emma had outsmarted him, using every tool, every obstacle, and every clever move at her disposal. The final confrontation had begun, and Emma had won the first, most crucial battle. She knew that the world could be dangerous, that threats had come from anywhere, but she also knew something important. She was clever, resourceful, and unstoppable when it came to protecting her child. And as the authorities arrived, Emma held Jason tightly, whispering words of reassurance. She had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. The clever trap had worked. The chase had ended. But Emma knew this was only the beginning. The lessons she had learned, the courage she had discovered within herself, and the bond she shared with Jason would guide them through any challenge to come. Together, they had survived. Together, they had proven that love, courage, and cleverness to overcome even the strongest enemy. The sirens grew louder in the distance. Emma's heart raced, but it was a different kind of racing now. One of hope, not pure fear. Jason clung tightly to her side, still trembling from the chaos they had just escaped. The guard, pinned by his own overconfidence and the clever traps Emma had set, groaned in frustration. Emma took a deep breath, keeping her grip on Jason steady. "Stay close, Jason. We're almost safe." Jason's small voice trembled, but he managed to whisper, "Mom, will he get us again?" Emma shook her head firmly. "No, Jason. Not today. Not ever. We've outsmarted him. We've been clever, brave, and together we're unstoppable." The guard tried to rise again, but his strength had faltered. Emma had learned something crucial over the past hours. Brute strength alone could never overcome intelligence, courage, and quick thinking. The metal keys in her hand, once just an everyday object, had become a weapon of precision. Her clever traps, improvised from the environment around her, had forced the guard to stumble again and again until he was completely trapped. Emma's eyes scanned the surroundings. The street was chaotic, but under her control. A nearby construction site, a line of parked cars, and the twisted metal obstacles she'd used to slow him down had created a perfect arena. The guard's options were gone. He was surrounded and trapped. Emma crouched slightly, holding Jason behind her. She whispered, "This is a final move. Stay close. Watch carefully." The guard lunged, desperate, but Emma was ready. She swung her keys in a sharp arc, striking his shoulder. He staggered, off balance, his movements clumsy now. She pivoted to the side, avoiding his arms, and used a nearby metal rod to trip him. He fell hard, grunting in pain. Jason's eyes were wide. "Mom, he's down again." Emma didn't respond verbally. Instead, she quickly scanned for any remaining obstacles she could use to secure him. She noticed a stack of wooden pallets nearby. With a swift movement, she kicked one toward the guard's legs, creating another barrier. He tried to rise, but the pallets blocked his path. Emma's mind was already planning the final strike. She grabbed a thick rope from a nearby dumpster and looped it around the guard's ankles. He struggled, twisting and turning, but the rope held. The guard was immobilized. Emma exhaled slowly, adrenaline still pumping through her veins. She looked down at him, her eyes burning with determination. "It's over," she said firmly. "You will not hurt us again." Jason clutched her tightly. Mom, we did it! Emma smiled faintly, brushing his hair from his face. Yes, but we must stay cautious. Always. Safety comes first. The sirens grew closer. Emma knew the authorities would arrive soon, but she had already won this battle. Her clever thinking, bravery, and love for Jason had ensured their survival. The guard's own arrogance and underestimation of her had been his downfall. Emma glanced at Jason. Do you see, Jason? Courage isn't about being the strongest. It's about being clever, thinking fast, and protecting those you love. Jason nodded, all clear in his eyes. I want to be like you, Mom. Emma smiled, holding him close. You already are, Jason. You already are. The guard struggled weakly, realizing he'd been completely outsmarted. Emma didn't need to strike him again. His defeat was clear. The combination of her traps, quick thinking, and clever use of everyday objects had neutralized him entirely. Emma took another deep breath and glanced around. The street was finally calm, the chaos fading as people began to approach cautiously. Authorities arrived, alerted by the sirens. They quickly assessed the situation, securing the guard and ensuring he could not escape. Emma handed Jason to one of the officers, ensuring he was safe and calm. She remained vigilant, making sure the guard was fully restrained. Her mind was still sharp, still focused on protecting her child, even as relief began to wash over her. The authorities questioned her briefly, but it was clear they understood the bravery and intelligence she had displayed. Emma calmly recounted the events, explaining how she had used the environment and her keys to defend Jason. The officers nodded, impressed by her courage and cleverness. Jason's small hand slipped into hers again. Mom, we're safe now, he whispered. Emma nodded, smiling gently. Yes, Jason, we are safe now. Thanks to you trusting me and me thinking fast, we made it. They walked toward a nearby park, away from the chaos. The sun had begun to set, casting warm, golden light across the city. For the first time in hours, Emma allowed herself to relax slightly, feeling the weight of tension lift from her shoulders. As they sat on a bench, Emma held Jason close, watching him carefully. You see, Jason, she said softly, being brave isn't just about fighting. It's about thinking, being clever, and using everything around you to your advantage. Jason nodded, his eyes shining with admiration. I want to be clever like you, Mom. I want to protect others too. Emma hugged him tightly. You will, Jason. You already have a brave heart. Today, you learned that courage comes in many forms. Never forget that. The city around them returned to normal. People resumed their daily routines, unaware of the intense battle that had just taken place. But Emma and Jason knew the truth. They had faced danger, outsmarted a powerful enemy, and emerged victorious. Emma's mind reflected on the lessons she had learned. Quick thinking, intelligence, and courage had overcome strength and intimidation. Even in the most terrifying moments, a calm mind and clever strategies could turn the tide. She had discovered a strength within herself she had never fully realized, a strength born from love, determination, and the will to protect her child at all costs. Jason leaned against her shoulder, exhausted but safe. Mom, what if someone else tries to hurt me? He asked quietly. Emma kissed his forehead gently. Then we will face them just like today. Together, we will use our brains, our courage, and whatever tools we have. You must never forget, Jason, humans are clever, strong, and brave. We can overcome almost anything if we stay calm and think carefully. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the park, Emma felt a profound sense of relief. The guard had been stopped. Jason was safe, and they had proven something powerful. Human cleverness, courage, and love could triumph over brute force and fear. The authorities escorted the guard away, securing him properly to ensure he could not harm anyone else. Emma watched carefully, her mind still alert, but her heart lighter. Jason tugged at her hand. Mom, can we go home now? He asked. Emma smiled, taking his hand. Yes, Jason. Let's go home. We've earned some rest. As they walked away, Emma reflected on the events. The chaos, the fear, the danger. It had all been real. But so had their courage and determination. They had faced a powerful enemy and emerged victorious through intelligence, bravery, and love. Jason looked up at her, eyes wide and full of admiration. Mom, you're amazing. Emma smiled, feeling a warm sense of pride and accomplishment. No, Jason, we are amazing. Together, nothing can stop us. And in that moment, as they disappeared into the city streets, the bond between mother and child felt unbreakable. They had survived fear, danger, and a powerful enemy. They had learned that courage, cleverness, and love were stronger than brute force. Emma knew one thing for certain. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, and nothing would ever break their spirit. The victory was complete. The aftermath was safe. And the story of courage, cleverness, and love would remain with them forever.